Well, what's up again there, guys? Brian here at 3Tier, and welcome to another episode of The People's Questions, where I answer all the questions you guys have sent me this past week. We got a much shorter but more focused set of questions, so I think that's a pretty good thing. And I think we might have maybe one newbie, but I can't be sure. I have to double check. But jumping right into the first question, coming from Cassie J. Williams. You want to know, what are my thoughts on Hulk Hogan? Well, he was hot shit back in the 80s. I think he had probably one of the most infamous heel turns of all time when he joined the NWO back, I think, in the early 90s. And I think in recent years, obviously, he's been the suspect of certain controversies, but I think that at heart, he's not a horrible person. And I even heard rumors that he might be coming back to be the general manager of SmackDown Live. I'd be interested to see what they do, but I just think that despite his flaws, Hulk Hogan is just too big of a name to not be associated with wrestling. I mean, unless he did something really, really horrible, kind of like the whole Chris Benoit thing, I think that Hulk Hogan will always kind of have a place. But I've never actually met him, but I don't think he's a horrible person. He's just had a few, really crazy moments, which we all do. Next question comes from Santiago Scarpino. You want to know, which console would I have to say is better, the PSP or the Game Boy Advance? If you're talking about which one would I probably play more, I would pick the Game Boy Advance. I think there's just a better collection of games. But I think the PSP just can do more than just play games. I can watch movies, I can go on the internet, I can play games, I can take pictures, I can store pictures, I can play music. I just think it's an overall better portable media device than a standard Game Boy Advance, which has only one function. Next question comes from The Paper Knight, and you want to know, now this is a weird one because you use a certain word, I'm not sure if you spelled it incorrectly, but I'll see. But you want to know, if I had an animal as a MOTIF. I don't know what that is, but I don't know, and I don't know what that is. But I'm guessing if I could pick an animal for a month, maybe, because that's kind of what it looks like. I mean, if you remove the IF and you put an HF, month, and you said I couldn't pick a wolf, I guess I would pick a dog. I'm telling you, that word is throwing me off. I don't know what that word means, but I'm guessing maybe it's a, maybe you spelled it wrong, but I guess that's the closest answer I can get right now. Next question comes from Yoda. You want to know, what is my favorite Mortal Kombat characters besides Scorpion? Okay, well, me and my brother are a complete reverse. His favorite character is Sub-Zero. His second favorite character is Scorpion. I'm the reverse, so if I can't pick Scorpion, my second favorite would be Sub-Zero, and then my number 3 would be Melina. So those would be my top 3. Next question comes from Demetrius Puffer. You want to know, who would win in a fight between level 99 Kingdom Hearts 2 Sora with all his abilities versus Devil May Cry 3 Virgil with Dark Side skilled fully maxed out? Sora! I'm sorry, anyone who can beat the crap out of Sephiroth like a bitch. Listen, I don't even think... That's the thing. If Virgil... Let me make this very clear. If Virgil were to take on Kingdom Hearts Sephiroth, it would be a very, very, very different matchup than what I did in my Versus series. There is a very good chance Virgil could possibly lose. There would be a very good chance. But Sora is so OP, I don't think anyone could realistically beat him. So, not even Dante. I mean, he has a good collection of weapons, but I just don't think he could dish out the amount of volume of attack that Sora can. I mean, Sora's attacks are so overwhelmingly powerful. I just have never seen Dante, Virgil, during Devil May Cry 3 be that powerful. Especially, he becomes more predictable throughout the later games. So I'm sorry, I'm getting Dante and Virgil mixed up. But if Sora took on Virgil and he was maxed out, I really don't think Virgil would win. I just think that Virgil has so many forms that have so many different unique attacks, and he would just be able to just cause enough confusion and wear Virgil down. And then you have to throw into the mix that he has magic and he has items, so any amount of damage that Virgil does, he would just heal himself and the fight would keep going. Like, unless Virgil found a way to kill Sora in one move, which, as far as I'm concerned, there's only one attack in the whole game that can do that, and technically you can survive that too, I just don't see Virgil winning. Next question comes from the Hunter Bros, and the first one is, out of all of the Resident Evil protagonists, who is the best out of all of them? Well, I would have to go with Leon S. Kennedy, because that's my favorite Resident Evil character of all time. And the second question is there any death battle that I think was way too one-sided? Yes. The second question for Hunter A is the Flash versus Quicksilver matchup was too one-sided. Nobody in their right mind, whether you're a Marvel fanboy or not, you could not even compare Quicksilver to the Flash in terms of speed. And it was over, especially when the Flash took Quicksilver into the Speed Force. Once he's in the Speed Force, there's nothing he can do. I mean, Flash's powers are pretty much infinite at that point, and so no, that's probably the most one-sided matchup ever. Next question comes from Rain932. You want to know, what is my opinion on Telltale games? I'm not really a big fan of their style of gaming. I mean, it's all multiple choice, and they've done a few properties, but overall, I'm not really a big fan of their style of game or any of their games in general. Next question comes from the first newbie of the episode, going by the name of All-Star Gamerpunk, awesome name. And you want to know, who do I prefer, Dante or Bayonetta? I would probably pick Dante because I'm a Devil May Cry fan, and I've never actually finished Bayonetta. I actually do have the first Bayonetta, but I think I bought it in like a discount bin at Blockbuster when it was closing down, and I bought it for like $5. I think I played it for like 30 minutes to an hour, and then I just decided, you know, I'm probably not going to play this again, so I never went back to play it. But I'm not the type of person that returns a game that you buy, so yeah, just by default, I'm a Dante person. Next question comes from the Immortal Superbeing. You want to know, do I think that they will ever bring Dead Space Remastered out for the PlayStation 4, and should we start a petition? I would love nothing more than have a Dead Space remastering. That is my favorite survival horror game of all time. Especially 2. 2, I would say, is better than any Resident Evil game I've ever played by far. And I think that Resident Evil 4 is an absolute masterpiece. But Dead Space 2 is an even bigger masterpiece, at least for me. But knowing EA, I don't think they'll ever do that. I don't think they're that nice. Next question comes from Dr. Hino419. You want to know, continuing on the Death Stranding question, what would I like to see in the game? At this point, I don't really care. This is Hideo Kojima we're talking about. I don't question any decision this man makes, except maybe the writing thing. That where I would kind of question him about, but he went back and fixed his mistake. The thing is like this. To me, he's like Christopher Nolan. At this point, he has yet to make a bad game. Anything he wants to do, he has a reason to. He knows what his fans want. He knows how to make a really, really interesting game that you know you're going to be talking about for years and years after the game comes out and after you've done played it many times. And you're going to be speculating. You're going to want to dissect every little bit of this game. And so at this point, the less I know about Death Stranding, the better. Which is why I've seen the trailer once. I don't want to see it again. I want to go into this game as fresh as possible because I know from my history with Kojima since 1998, I can trust this man is going to give me one hell of a story and interesting gameplay concepts. I know I'm in for some sort of a treat, and I know that all of us fans of him are in for one too. So I don't have any speculations. I just want to get my hands on the game and see what he's got in store for us. The next question comes from J-Bat, and you want to know, do I think that we will ever get a Star Wars anthology film focusing on Luke Skywalker's Force Ghost? Okay, number one, let's get one thing straight. Luke Skywalker was never in The Last Jedi. Let's get that fact straight. I don't know who the hell that was. That was not Luke Skywalker. Or at least that was not the Luke Skywalker that I have come to know. I don't know who the hell that was. But do I think that a story about a Force Ghost Luke Skywalker would work? Probably not. I mean, what do Force Ghosts do? They don't do anything, really. They just kind of wander around and talk to people. That's about it, really. Although I don't quite understand how the hell Yoda can suddenly use Force Lightning. I don't know where that came from. Next question comes from Queen Vivalada, nice name. And you want to know, on my Facebook photos, it shows me using Dante, and so where did that gesture come from all of a sudden? Here's the thing. Originally, it was going to be Dante versus Steve. But then I thought about it, and I was like, you know what? We just used Dante recently. And to be fair, it would be a complete disrespect to Dante to waste his time with such a pathetic character. So, let's put him up, let's put Steve, a parody of a really awesome character, against another character who's a complete joke in his game, but is actually quite deceiving. So that's why I picked Jester. And it was April Fool's Day, so it made sense. Why make an April Fool's Day video involving a legitimately badass character who I do want to use again in a future matchup? So that's why I switched out Jester, or Dante, for Jester. I just thought it was a much better matchup. And the last question of the episode comes from ShadowWolf. You want to know, what is my favorite PlayStation 1 game of all time? Easy. Final Fantasy VII. Final Fantasy VII is not only my favorite PlayStation 1 game of all time, it is the single most important video game I've ever played. That is the quintessential game that made me the type of gamer I am today for a number of reasons. And with that, those are all the questions you guys have sent me for this week. If you guys have any more questions you'd like me to answer for next week's episode, be sure to type them in the comments down below. But make sure you get them into me before next Wednesday before I start filming the next episode. And by the way, there were at least 2 questions in the comment section of last week's episode that I want to thank some of you guys for answering. You guys are knowing me so well. Keep up the great work. And with that said, thank you guys for watching. You're awesome, and I will see you next time.